And breaking news coming in from Karnataka. Now, amid a possible leadership change in Karnataka, BS Yediyurappa has now said, and I quote, "I have not recommended any name. The party high command has not said anything to me. Let's see what will happen after the 26th of July. Remember, this comes amid a softening of stand as far as Yediyurappa is concerned at this point in time. Let's listen in. All right, let's in fact go across to Shrija, who's joining us at this point for more details here. Shrija, this of course has been playing out over the last several weeks now, and there seems to be now in the last day or so a significant change in the stand of BS Yediyurappa in terms of, what he's saying. And this shows a clear softening of stand, and he's sort of accepting that if there is a leadership change requirement, he will go with it.
Well, to break it down to our viewers, it's also important to note that the leadership change, the speculation started making the rounds almost 3 to 4 months ago. But back then, we understand it was done by the disgruntled MLAs and the ministers themselves. And soon after that, when due to constant hounding of the media, despite that, BS Yediyurappa chose to stay mum. He refused to speak on that. But the very first time that he came out and broke silence was in the month of June, and then he went on to state that, saying that he doesn't really have any sort of problems if at all these disgruntled leaders are going out and making public statements. And then soon after that, we did of course see how Arun Singh, he in fact came to Karnataka to carry out a troubleshooting exercise. He of course issued a diktat to these disgruntled leaders, asking them not to make public statements. So it's very interesting to note all these kind of developments as far as the Karnataka is concerned. Remember, the political turf was actually made tougher for BS Yediyurappa. This was actually a known fact, and also was told to BS Yediyurappa as per the sources, highly placed sources in the BJP Delhi, telling that yes, he was informed a long time ago that the BJP High Command will soon be bringing in a young blood to lead the state into 2023 elections. Now, despite being told the fact that he will be changed, we could see the unanimous and the show of strength in the last few days, because you saw after Arun Singh clearly making an aggressive statement, not just him, even the BJP High Command saying that yes, there won't be any leadership change, but the news and the speculations continued here in the state. And after which we understand especially, in fact, what's more important to understand here, if we could actually go across to BS Yediyurappa, who's actually coming out of the cabinet meet. So, what do you think what do you have to say about the message from the BJP High Command? Okay, looks like he clearly didn't have anything to state at this moment. He's just stepping out right after the cabinet meet. What's important to note, like we did point out, that
all right, we're just
been a very important political developments taking place here in the state of Karnataka. And also, what's important to note that, especially after Arun Singh giving that diktat, yes, you cannot go ahead and make those public statements.
All right, I think we've lost that line with Shrija. We're just going to try and reconnect with her, but essentially that was BS Yediyurappa there coming out of the meeting, cabinet meeting there, and refusing to really say anything at this point in time. But he's made his stand very clear now, at least, that saying that he is going to accept whatever the BJP senior leadership decides. Let's listen into what he said earlier.
Message illa ನನಗೆ 25 ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಾಯಕತ್ವ ಏನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದ್ಧನಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂದೆನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಈಗಲೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗ 2 ತಿಂಗಳಿಂದನೇ ನಾನು ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು ನಿಮಗೂ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯ. ನಾನು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ಇರಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಬರೋ 16 ವರ್ಷ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ BJಪಿಯನ್ನು ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ತರಬೇಕು, ಸಂಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಲಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು. ಈ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಉದ್ದಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಓಡಾಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಸಂಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಲಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾವತ್ತು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವತ್ತು ಸಂಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಲಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸ
Yediyurappa
ಮಾಡಿ
had said just a short while back. So at this point in time, we have to wait and see. Remember, the 26th of July, date is important because that marks 2 years of completion of the Yediyurappa government. And that is why he's insisting that whatever changes happen will be after the 26th. And that's something he's mentioned even when he was making that comment there. But let's now look at what could be the road ahead. Shrija is back with us here. Shrija, let's talk about what the options before the BJP are at this point in time, because this is, of course, we've seen over the past few days the Lingayat community sort of rallying around Yediyurappa, so they are not going to be happy if he is replaced. But take us through what options the BJP has.
Well, I apologize in the first because we couldn't really connect due to lack of reception right here at Vidhan Savda. But before that, it is also important to note, yes, like you did point out, there are certain possible candidates who are in the fray. Now, it is also important to note there are two important big communities, the top communities like your Vokkaliga and the Lingayat community here in the state of Karnataka. Now, these two communities, over the last, in fact, if you're looking at 50 years in the state of Karnataka, the history of politics, if you're talking about, they have clearly ruled in the state of Karnataka. Now, BJP, we are talking about where BS Yediyurappa being the strong man of the Lingayat community. Remember what really can happen, now possible backlash that we are talking about. Yes, the seers of the Lingayat community has once again reiterated and also sent out a strong message to the BJP High Command that they will be facing a severe backlash here in the state of Karnataka. Now, there are several options to be looked at if at all BS Yediyurappa is being replaced with another Lingayat leader. This is only in a way where he can be, they can provide him a ceremonious exit and then bring in another leader from a Lingayat community. This is a way to appease especially this particular community, and they do not ensuring that they do not lose their vote base. But on the other hand, if the Lingayat community is very strong on their decision saying that yes, they still want BS Yediyurappa to continue and that should not be an abrupt exit. Now remember, it's going to be a huge risk and a gamble for the state of Karnataka. Now on the other hand of the option two, we are looking at if BS Yediyurappa is going to be replaced with a Vokkaliga community, a leader from Vokkaliga community. Now that's going to be a very tough challenge as far as Karnataka is concerned. Remember, the Vokkaliga that we are talking about is actually the vote bank of the Congress and of the JDS. Now, to remember, to steer away that vote, it is clearly, in fact, as far as political analysts are concerned, they're saying it's almost impossible considering the fact that Karnataka is just about 1 year, 9 months away from the 2023 elections. Now, where exactly does, as far as this political development stand today, we're looking at a situation, yes, whether or not, now we understand from the inside sources, yes, BJP High Command has asked him to step down.
Right.
And that is one of the reasons why he's putting up a very tough fight right now. Also, some of the leaders, especially the sources telling us that the protest that was staged just yesterday by his supporters and also the seers, the show of strength could have been actually orchestrated by BS Yediyurappa. Back to you.
All right, Shrija. Well, that is a lot of perspective there on what's been happening. But let's bring in, we've got Ganesh Karnik of the BJP and Brijesh Kalappa of the Congress both joining me on the phone line at this point in time. Ganesh Karnik, let me come to you first in terms of what we are going to see going ahead. There has been this entire controversy going on for a long time now and still no clarity about the road ahead. Now, of course, as far as the current Chief Minister is concerned, he has come out and made a statement which clearly shows that we are going to see a leadership change very soon.
Well, different perspectives you all have been discussing, whether it is your channel or other channels and media. There are different perspectives. And today, Honorable Chief Minister, in his very mature stature that he has been exhibiting, has very clearly said, if the High Command decides that I must step down, I'll step down and I'll work for the party and I'll go around the state. I will be working like a party worker only to organize and strengthen the party further and bring back BJP to power. And that is a very mature statement by Honorable Chief Minister. But till now, like you rightly said, somebody was mentioning as I was listening to, that Central Command has not said anything, and your own statement just made says that some reliable sources we have gathered. So it is a speculation, it is a perspective, and I wouldn't like to comment on that. Again, I will take the same stand. He is our tallest leader. And if there are internal, issues within the party about leadership or whatever it is, I'm very confident our party is capable of taking the right decision at the right time.
Right, absolutely, Ganesh Kanik. But the fact here is that, for BS Yediyurappa to come out and say something like, I will step down and I will resign if required. I had offered to resign 2 months ago. So obviously there is that, change that is possibly going to come in. And I'm just trying to understand what kind of a possible timeline could we be looking at?
No, you only said it. See, 2 months ago he mentioned this. Nothing happened. He has been listening to all kinds of debates and discussions and all kinds of things happening in and around. In frustration, possibly, he has said that, like a disciplined soldier of the party. He said, yes, if the High Command demands me to step down, I'll step down. Otherwise, I'll work for the party. So that's what has happened 2 months ago. Again, there were a lot of debates. And today he has said the same thing. And in fact, if you refer to his statements and tweet, what he has said, please don't protest in my favor. And I respectfully, receive the appreciation shown towards me by the seers of different communities. He has said that. But please don't, he said. He also said, I'm not going to suggest which community, I'm not going to suggest which leader. That is for the center to take a call. And if the center decides, or if the center directs that I have to step down, I'll step down. In fact, he has gone one step ahead. As the Chief Minister, tomorrow I'll go around the Bangalore city and supervise, different development activity that is happening in the state. That's what he says.
Yes.
And it's all different perspectives, like you rightly said.
All right. Let's bring in Brijesh Kalappa as well. Mr. Kalappa, your response to all of this, because obviously this is not new. This entire controversy has been going on for a while, and typically when there is this kind of a political crisis within a state government, governance at this point in time takes a backseat because all the focus is on the politics. But and you yourself have experienced something like that in the past. But what is your response to this entire situation?
I think insofar as the situation is concerned, it's been very badly handled by the BJP. This kind of a never-ending kind of a saga, which has many facets. One day he says that I'm not going, I'm going to remain for the next 2 years. Then suddenly out of the blue today he says that no, I will be going, and people above the age of 75 are not permitted to continue and all this. I think this could have been handled far better. It could have been handled in a manner in which Mr. Yediyurappa also felt that he was, being given a nice send-off, a respectful send-off. But on the other hand, he's down and out, and his body language today showed as if he was nearly a prisoner. And this kind of thing could have been avoided, because the man genuinely has actually worked for the party for the last 40 years. He's the one who has brought the party to power. And also, where yesterday he was meeting all the saints from his community. This could have been done in a much better fashion without this kind of high drama and all this. I think the BJP has really lost the plot, and people in Karnataka today, the way in which Yediyurappa is being treated, his voters are absolutely furious with the BJP, because this kind of treatment being meted out to one of its tallest leaders, somebody who's even senior to Mr. Modi, is something which is unpalatable. So I think this could have been handled far better. It's been handled in a very, very shabby manner. And this kind of treatment to a sitting Chief Minister of Karnataka is something which nobody will accept.
Okay, Ganesh Kanik, would you like to respond to that?
Mr. Kalappa is from the opposite side, and I appreciate his views. I only wish the same logic applies to what happens in his own party, whatever he has said. There is a leadership issue going on in the other side also, and they have issues. They have gone to Delhi just a couple of days ago. and they've come back without anything in return. So these issues, sitting this side, I can start commenting on that party. I don't think it is gentlemanly to say such things. It's internal affairs, and of course, I appreciate his views that the people of Karnataka and Mr. Yediyurappa is our chief minister. The state of the Karnataka, he's the chief minister. Obviously, the people of Karnataka will have. And I accept his views that he's one of the tallest leaders and he has immensely contributed in building the party from the grassroots. I appreciate that. I must thank him for that. He made a wonderful observation. Otherwise, leave it to the party. Party will decide if there is any difference. And so far as his statements are concerned, like a very elderly, mature statesman, he has said, yes, when there is so much of discussion happening, there are different perspectives being discussed in different channels. So the best that he has done is to say that, yes, if the center demand decides that he should step down like a soldier, and then I'll dedicate myself for the party organization at the grassroots level. So that is it.
All right, Ganesh Karnik, Brijesh Kalappa, thank you so much for joining us with your perspectives. Obviously, this issue is far from being resolved right now. We are still awaiting any kind of clarity here at this point in time. But if we will in fact get you some more perspective on this. But the fact here is that the multiple options before the BJP at this point in time. And we'll have to see how, in fact, they play this out. Manu Ayappa of the Times of India, Chief of Political Bureau, is joining me on the phone line. Thank you so much for joining us. Your own interpretation of the way this entire issue is being handled right now. And obviously, as of today, in fact, we've seen a significant softening of Yediyurappa's stand in terms of him clearly saying that he will do whatever the senior leadership want him to do at this point.
Yeah, obviously. Yediyurappa for the last 2 days have been getting a lot of support from his community leaders, mainly religious leaders. They have been coming and visiting his residence and even asking BJP High Command to reconsider their decision, and also telling them that if they try to remove Yediyurappa, then the BJP may lose its vote bank in Karnataka. But today, Yediyurappa has categorically said that he is going to resign, not in that proper words, but he has indicated that he is going to resign and take out a tour across the state to strengthen the party and bring back the party to power again in 2023 assembly elections. Obviously, he is indicating that he is going. And now the bigger problem for BJP will be to find a new successor. Obviously, yes. 6 or 7 names are being shortlisted. And one thing is clear in this consensus, because Yediyurappa belongs to the Lingayat community, another Lingayat has to replace him. Otherwise, there could be again problem for the BJP.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, that, like you pointed out, is an important issue to look at this point in time. But we'll, of course, have to see how it plays out. Thank you so much for joining us and putting that into perspective. On that note, we're going to slip into a very quick break. We'll be back with lots more.